Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
We will get to the Twins winning ways. We will get to all the good young pitching that we're seeing. We'll talk about Austin Martin. But we have to start this edition of the Chin Music Show, our baseball show at TalkNorth.com, by mentioning that we recently passed the 44th anniversary of the day Roy Smalley was traded to the Yankees, a day that will live in infamy. Roy, usually you have a good story to go with these kind of anniversaries. What can you tell us about that transaction?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can sum it up. If people want to go back to the Star Tribune on that date and look at the expression on my wife's face, it was the above the line photo from the clubhouse when I had just been informed that I was going to New York, and so my wife's facial expression kind of said it all at the time. There's all kinds of stories that kind of emanated from that. Maybe we can get into some of those at some point in time. I don't want to belabor it. I enjoyed my time with the Yankees. It was great wearing the pinstripes. I had 2 really good years there before things started getting a little crazy. My last year, George Steinbrenner. I've got a story with it. We'll save it for the end. I've got a story about how I left there in '84. I got traded in '82, hit 20 home runs in '82, hit 18 in '83. I signed a big extension there with George, and then '84 was crazy. So I can tell you about that if we have some time. But I'm going to let sum it up by just saying my wife was not a happy camper.
Roy, the story suggested that you had just called the architect the day before because you finally decided it was time to build a house.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I was thinking more baseball stuff, but yeah, we had bought a lot in Edina, kind of our dream lot that we wanted to build on. And the architect, we've been meeting with the architect over the winter, and then I put everything on hold. When I got spring training, Bertie Tebbetts, the scout with the Yankees, was at every game we played. And so it was like, I'm going to get traded. Everybody knew they were scouting me in spring training. And so I called the architect and I go, you know what? We're just going to put this on hold because I think I might end up, going to New York. And got a spring training and came back here. We opened the series, opened the Metrodome, as a matter of fact, and played 3 games in the opening series, and was going in on Saturday for the I think the 4th game when they told me I was going to be traded. But what I was going to say is when I started the season, I called the architect back and said, you know what, looks like it's not going to happen. So let's go ahead and start the plans. And the next day I got traded.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. By the way, we are also approaching the 500th show in Chin Music history. Roy has been a part of it all along. LaVelle's been a more recent addition. So thank you, gentlemen, for getting us this far. We'll have to think of some kind of strange promotion to do surrounding that. I haven't come up with anything yet, but I'll take suggestions if you guys have any, or if anybody wants to email us, we'll take suggestions about that. We should get to the baseball. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio. We're presented by OnX Maps. We'll tell you about our sponsors here in a little bit. Also, our new Vice President of Business Development, Tammy Henderson, is on board now, and we expect big things from her. Let's get to the baseball. I think the Twins are doing a great job right now of serving 2 masters. They are entertaining a fan base that was ready to ignore baseball all summer. So they have been doing their jobs as entertainers and as competitors. They are also doing exactly what you would have hoped if you wanted to see this team have long-term success, and that is they are having great success with their young pitchers on the mound. Chaz Bradley's been fantastic. Mick Abel has turned it around and been great the last couple times out. Andrew Morris was really good in his debut. And guess what? Rojas and Prelep pitched for St. Paul on Thursday night. Probably the two most talented lefties in the organization, and both look great. So, LaVelle, I know people are excited about the winning. I'm excited about the young pitching.
I am too. I mean, that's what's going to be the foundation going forward. And yeah, I saw the Prelip box score yesterday or whatever, and I was like, okay, that's the guy I was talking about 3 years ago when I saw him on the backfield of Fort Myers. And I saw Rojas in spring training, and the Twins could go from having no, quality lefties in the rotation to having two in the near future. If they can stretch out Prelip so he can be a starter, that's a plus. But because he doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt, because of the Tommy John surgery, I'm just concerned that he's going to end up being a Joan Duran and being a reliever. But I think he could be a hell of a reliever if he ends up in that role. But keep starting him, because you can see a lot of hitters that way. He can work on all his pitches, and it's great for his development. Mick Abel, man, I was in the house for his first start at Target Field, and he was walking guys through 2 innings. He couldn't find the plate. And Pete Mackey jumped him after 2 innings and says, "Your stuff is too good for you to be treating it like this. Put it over the plate, throw some strikes with conviction here, and trust your stuff." And I think he threw like 3 shutout innings right after that and was able to get into the 6th inning. And now we see him like going 7 innings. And the funny part is, Pablo Lopez, for some reason, decided to chart pitches with Pete Mackey that day. Pablo's trying to make himself useful, so he's charting pitches. So he was in the back tunnel after the 7th when they're all patting Abel in the back, and Pablo's going, "That's me next year," because it was like 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, So, yeah, that's a live arm, man. That's a live arm, and you got Bradley and Abel showing what they can do in that rotation, right behind Joe Ryan. And Bailey Ober and Simeon Richardson, I would say they're both their last starts. Simeon gave up like 5 runs, but his fastball started hitting 94. Ober's actually went up 0.8 of a mile. So once he gets to like 91, because his changeup comes around like 82, 83, then, that's really going to help him out for it. So there's a lot to like about the current and the future situation with the Twins starting rotation.
I watched Taj Bradley pitch a couple of times, and I thought, wait, what? How did they get this? How'd they get this arm?
Yep.
It was electric to me. I mean, I just loved his stuff. I love the combination of pitches and how intense every one of his pitches is. I mean, it goes up there with a purpose, and the purpose ain't good for hitters. I mean, it's just not. And I love watching his stuff. And I always thought that Abel's problem has been the same as it is for for a lot of young pitchers. Some of them figure it out, some of them don't. And we've talked about this fellow before, and I'm forgetting his name, but the real tall right-hander they got from Washington.
Oh yeah.
In the trade for our catcher. I guess it was for Denard. Anyway, Meyer, I think his name was
Alex
Meyer.
Yep.
So I watched his stuff the same way, and I thought, man, I hate to see Denard go, but this guy, I mean, they need pitching, and this guy's got some stuff to run up there. But he couldn't run it up there in the strike zone. And so Mackey's, the story about Mackey, LaVelle, that you tell about jumping Abel is exactly right. It's like everybody watched Joe Ryan pitch, right? Here it is. See if you can hit it. Here it is. See if you can hit it. And the only way you can see if you can hit it, if it's right around the zone all the time. And when you're around the zone, hitting corners, then you throw some of that good stuff down the middle. And the down the middle almost takes the guys by surprise. It's good enough stuff to pitch down the middle, but it's not good enough stuff to pitch 2-0 and 3-1 with 2 guys on that you walked. And that has been kind of Abel's story. And that's been different here lately. I'll tell you what, it's real stuff. We don't know about makeup, mental makeup yet. We don't know about, going through the league, all that blah, blah, blah. But the stuff is real stuff.
To my two favorite sayings regarding pitching come from Eddie Guardado and Roy Smalley, two noted baseball philosophers. One is Roy saying, your stuff doesn't get better after you fall behind. So why wait? Throw it over now.
Throw it over now.
Yeah. And Eddie said, I go out there and I say, I'm either going to get you or you're going to get me, but we're going to find out real quick.
Yes. We've all loved that about Eddie Guardado all these years, and all those years when we watched him, and all the subsequent years when he coached and talked about, when he was pitching. And it absolutely is true. It doesn't get any better. Throw the shit over.
Yep. Awesome.
And Eddie's saying was like, all I got is my nuts. And
he was right. That's all he had.
Without those, I ain't got nothing,
That's
man.
all he had.
Because he attacked he did not have he had barely above average stuff and attacked and went after guys.
Yeah.
And he would grab his nuts when he came on.
He was lucky when he hit 90 miles an hour. I mean, when he got 90 miles an hour, everybody wanted to drug test him.
He had to grab them all the time to make sure they were still there because that's all he had.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
By the way, will it be awkward when the Twins have to give the Executive of the Year award to Derek Falvey?
Yes.
That's a great point.
I mean,
did you see Rocco? I guess Buster only ran into Rocco, and Rocco said, "Don't let the Twins get off to a good start." He says because they got a lot of good talent in those trades, and they got a lot of really good young players who have a chance of being really good. He said, "Do not let the Twins get off to a good start." So,
two of my favorite people in baseball, Buster and Rocco.
Yeah.
So let's talk. The pitching is going to be the story. We're going to keep coming back to that, but that's the most important thing. And we will eventually get back to talking about all those trades because, like, the only trade we're not really sure about yet is the Varland trade. And if Rojas ends up being a stud pitcher, then that will end up being a good trade as well. But let's talk hitting here briefly. There aren't that many guys really having huge years. They've just bunched their hits together and they've hit home runs. They've had surprising guys hit home runs. The interesting development for me with an organization loaded with future talent in the outfield slots and players who could end up playing outfield is that Austin Martin has a 500 on base percentage. He had a bomb the other day. He looks completely comfortable at the plate. And on a team where they don't have many guys who get on base, Austin Martin has been that guy. And so what's the future for this guy?
Well, Pat, I've sat next to Patrick Royce in the press box while
Martin
hit the home run. And he was like, Austin Martin, that kid looks like a ball player. Just a guy who likes playing ball. I mean, we got mad at him because he threw to the wrong base in the opener. But at the plate, he's what the Twins need. A guy who can take some pitches, draw some walks. And, he can hit line drives. I don't think we're going to see too many second deck homers with him. But he's going to get a few homers, man. So now we're kind of see the Twins lineup starting to kind of form here because Bucks is going to lead off. It looks like Martin's like the pick to be in the 2-hole. So we're slowly but surely watching this thing congeal in front of our eyes. Austin definitely has to start against lefties, and I wouldn't mind starting him against a lot of right-handers either, man, because you need that type of player in your lineup to be kind of a table setter, bus rider for the bus drivers to drive in. He could be that guy. So, yeah, I like what I see from Austin so far.
Yeah, I agree. I've always liked his approach at the plate. I've always liked it. You guys remember by talking about him over the last couple of years, saying, this guy gets good pitches to hit. He doesn't always hit them, and nobody does, but he doesn't swing at bad balls. He takes a lot of pitches that are pitches he should take, whether they're strikes or balls, to try and get to, the pitch that he wants. And he's pretty good with 2 strikes. And I hope this start. I mean, he's hitting over 300. I think he's over 900 in slugging percentage, and it's a combination of hit some doubles, hit a home run, but hitting some doubles and walking a lot. And so in the first or second spot, the Twins haven't had a guy like that, in a long time. And I think when you get off to a start like this, I think you gotta give him shots with against right-handed pitching every once in a while. I mean, a guy that's swinging the bat well, you just run him up there. I don't think he cares. I never got the feeling that when a tough right-hander was out there, as a matter of fact, I'll say it differently. I got the feeling that even when a tough right-hander was out there, he gave one of the better at-bats of anybody in the lineup. And so, at some point in time, and this kind of relates back to my Yankee story that we have shelved for a later time about when I got traded, but because this kind of thing resonates with me. But if a guy's swinging the bat well, then I think that maybe you give him some shots and see if he can be an everyday first or second hitter for you.
I just want to say one thing. The first time I saw Austin Martin in a clubhouse, I was like, who in the hell thought this guy could be a power hitter? Because when he got traded over from the Blue Jays, they tried to alter his swing for him to hit more homers. Where's there power in that body? Let him be who he is, and take advantage of his positives instead of trying to make him into something there's no chance of him becoming. Maybe with some experience he can learn how to hit 20 in the season, but I'm not messing with that swing when I'm looking at that guy. He's got like he's the size of a clubhouse attendant.
Yeah, I agree with you, LaVelle. I mean, a guy, there's one thing if a guy has hit the same way all through the minor leagues and he comes up and his mechanics aren't bad, he starts to struggle and his mechanics aren't good. And, say, kid, you can't hit that way. You got to fix a couple of things. But when a kid's hit line drives all his whole career and he comes up and he looks like a guy that probably, if he's going to stay in the big leagues, needs to just be a line drive hitter, it's kind of head scratching why they would mess with that. I think they saw his bat to ball skills, which is excellent. I think they saw his ability to drive balls in gap, and it was a home run hitter's industry. When he came up, that's all anybody wanted. Everybody was trying to lift and separate, and so they were trying to find good hitters to hit the ball out of the ballpark. But that's a mistake, and it would be a mistake with Keyshaw, by the way.
Yep.
And Keyshaw is going to be the kind of hitter that I think starts turning, and maybe Austin Martin to some degree, but I'm going to bet on Keyshaw being the kind of guy that everybody looks at him and says, oh, yeah, maybe we ought to try to have that approach. Maybe we ought to swing that, hit the ball, all over the field hard all the time, take good at bats, and know what to do when you have two strikes, all those kinds of things. So I'm getting a kick out of Austin Martin, and Keyshaw's not hitting up to where he's going to hit by the end of the season yet. But I will pay attention every time he steps in the box. I like watching him.
I think Keyshaw's a little sturdier than Martin, so I think the potential of him hitting some home runs is a little bit better.
Home runs. There's no question. He can't. There's a lot of life in his bat, and he's strong.
Yes,
and he'll hit the ball out of the ballpark. But that's, there have been a lot of us that have said for a lot of years, home runs, aren't hit. They're thrown. And it's a really important concept for guys to understand. As you go up there and stay in the center of the diamond and know where the big end of the bat is and how to get it to the ball. And when a guy throws you a home run pitch, you won't mess it up. It'll be a home run. Home runs are thrown to you, and your job is not to screw it up when you get one.
Let's take care of the business. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
Is your water leaving white scale, smelling funky, or making you a bit suspicious of what's in it? One call to Aquarius Home Services, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer, means worry-free water for your home and family. Schedule your free water test today and experience the Connecticut difference for just $9.95 per month for the first 3 months. Aquarius Home Services. One call, problem solved. Earning the right to be recommended. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com.
Chin Music is presented by OnX Maps. Go to onxmaps.com/fish to get the Fish app. It's a planning tool and a navigation tool. Offline maps, turn by turn to the boat ramp, public-private land layers. OnX has been doing this for hunters for years, and now it's built for anglers. It's $34.99 for the year, less than a spool of good braid. Download OnX Fish on the App Store or go to onxmaps.com/fish and fish smarter this season. Let's go really big picture here, because this is the question I get asked all the time when I'm doing radio hits and when I'm out and about. What are the chances of this team actually contending for a division title, Roy?
The chances are firmly in the laps of Buxton and Keyshaw, and I was hoping Royce Lewis. With support from Ryan Jeffers, who's been terrific, both up behind the plate and in the batter's box. He's been great. But if that's the real thing, and Buxton and Keyshaw and Jeffers and hopefully one other. I mean, not Royce. Brooks Lee has driven in a lot of runs. He's driven in 11 runs, I think. In the just shy of 20 games. I mean, that's on pace. If he plays 140 games, that's 77, 80 RBIs. From a guy that's hitting 220 or 230. I mean, if he figures it out, he's got a chance to be a contributor. But they really don't have guys that day in, day out. I mean, it's been great. All the home runs that have been hit from unlikely sources are sources you didn't know about at the beginning of the season, right? I mean, there have been a lot of games won or a lot of big hits from some guys that you wouldn't have thought. By the end of the season, the guys that have the chance, the guys that are supposed to be the thumpers have to be the thumpers. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so a couple of big ifs. With the way the pitching staff has started off, I'm further along in maybe just because maybe the hitters won't have to score 9 runs a game. These guys, the pitchers look pretty solid, but it's going to be down to Buck and Keyshaw and Jeffers and one other, and I'm hoping it's Royce Lewis at some point in time.
I'm worried about Warner already.
Yep.
He's got 2 or 3 homers and 5 RBI again. He's averaging 2 strikeouts a game. 2. That's a 300 pay. That's beyond Miguel Sano. And I thought he had made the adjustment where he's getting his foot down a little bit quicker and not drifting, but it ain't clicking, man. And Emmanuel Rodriguez hit a 106-mile-an-hour home run the other day for the Saints. I'm sitting there going, if he's doing that, we got to start thinking, when is this guy going to get a shot in the majors? He just got to stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy and pull up the numbers, man, because I just want to see his style of baseball play where he doesn't swing at any pitch outside the strike zone and how that plays up here in this level. But I'm encouraged a little bit by some of the hitters. The fact that they've started to make some lefties pay, Skubal, Valdez, Garrett Crotchet, that was pretty impressive. They've beaten some good pitchers. Defensively, Keisha with those 2 errors, I think that may have been, when we were talking about that after the game, we think it may be a byproduct of them hadn't played in 16 straight days or something like that, that it was just time for an off day. But he kind of compounded things by committing the second error after the first. But it's not a strong defensive team other than Buxton. That worries me. And the bullpen still worries me. They're 25th in strikeouts per 9 innings, so they don't have a power arm in that group. That's why Andrew Morris's relief outing against Toronto was so encouraging, because he came in throwing 97. They don't have that in the bullpen, And as I wrote the other day, if they get into June, and they're still like doing all right, the first thing at the top of their list to do things is to find a live ass arm to put in that bullpen, which could be hard to do. But to me, if they're thinking that, well, maybe we can hang around this thing and be relevant, then you got to do something about the bullpen.
What if they doubled down and traded all their veterans for a second straight summer?
Well, that's not out of the question. If you get to July and they're floundering again, because everybody was talking about how they had the best record in the American League. Well, they're a 3-game losing streak away from being the worst record in the American League, So if they get into July, they may activate another, fire sale with Joe Ryan to be at the top of that list, and get some more young assets. So,
I think I will interrupt, LaVelle. If you have all this young pitching you just acquired and the future looks really bright,
play it.
I'd like to keep Joe Ryan around. I'd like to go into next year with Pablo, Joe Ryan, Taj Bradley, Mick Abel, and then the best of a really strong group of youngsters is your 5th starter. You could go win the division and be a threat in the playoffs with that group.
Are they ready to make the financial commitment to keep Joe Ryan? I'm all for what you're saying, but the way they've been thinking the last 2 or 3 years has been the opposite of that. They even found a way to cut payroll going into this year, which was kind of hard to do, but they did.
All right, let's get to our Booze and Blues segment. We'll tell more Roy stories in the near future here. I will start off and then get your contributions. We do this every week on Chin Music. Because Springsteen's touring, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Steve Van Zandt, his lead guitarist, because he's not just Bruce's best friend and lead guitarist. He put together the Sun City video and song, which protested apartheid in South Africa. It's probably the best song of its ilk ever done. He found a way to splice in stars from all over the music world, even the ones he couldn't get to New York City. And he did it all himself on a dime budget. His actions and his lobbying, and he got if you read his autobiography or watch the documentary on him, he got smuggled into a guerrilla camp in apartheid South Africa in the trunk of a car. His friends told him he was going to get murdered as soon as he got out of the car, and he got out, and he ended up being the main reason that Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. This is a guitarist. He got that done. He champions music curriculum as a way of educating youth. I can't remember the name of the program right now, but he's big in that. He ended up starring The Sopranos. He ended up writing and starring in Lilyhammer. It was the first original series that ever got approved by Netflix. Opened the door for all these other shows. He has his own band. He's played with everybody from Smokey Robinson to Paul McCartney. And Paul McCartney once said this of Steve Van Zandt. He said, "I know a lot about music, and I know a lot about music history. Steve Van Zandt knows more."
Wow. That makes him a serial music winner.
Yeah. It's an amazing human. All right. Either of you have a Booze and Blues segment contribution for us this week?
Yeah, my suggestion is that if you're at a friend's house like I was recently and they offer you some Weller 12, you take it. All right. I never had Weller 12 before, and it was absolutely delicious. It's not cheap. It's about $150 a bottle. But, I'm sitting there reading the notes on it, and I'm not good with identifying the flavors. I'm just happy that it was more of a wheat mash bill because it's softer taste. But it says it's got notes of vanilla, caramel, cocoa, and toasted oak. I can taste the oak. I can taste some of the caramel. I'm not great enough on my palate to determine vanilla or cocoa. That's the one thing I'm working on with my whole bourbon tasting thing. But it was absolutely delicious. I would never mix it with an old fashioned or anything else. I would just sip it straight. It's one of those that you do not use for concoctions like that. You just enjoy the Weller 12 and you nurse that thing as long as possible. So that is my booze contribution for this week.
Well, you better stick with that, LaVelle, because if you go to some burger place somewhere, you won't know whether you're drinking a chocolate malt or vanilla malt. You can't tell the difference. So you better just stick with that Weller 12.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, I guess that's one of my policies here.
Good stuff, guys. We'll get some more Roy stories here in the future. We'll celebrate our 500th show coming up. Thanks to our producers, Davide Rosso and Alex Haugen. All the people at Talk North have made this all possible. We do appreciate it. Let's hope the fun continues.
Why not?